question 8A, it says gas and electricity companies charge 5% value-added tax (VAT) on their bills. Find the VAT on each of these bills. VAT means value-added tax. Okay, I'm only going to do one of them. This is the cost of electricity used without the VAT. So we're looking at, what have we got here? £96.40p, and that's without the VAT. So we're going to work out 5% of that. Alright, well let's do something easy. 10%, put dot dot, it helped, wouldn't it? So 10% of £96.40 is going to be a tenth of it, which is £9.64. And 5% is going to be half of that, which is going to be, let's just show the sum, divide that by 2, and if you can't do that in your brain, let's do a quick short division sum, shall we? How many 2's go into £9.64? Put a point there. So 2's into 9 go 4 times, 1 left over. 2's into 16 is going to go 8 times, nothing left over. 2's into 4, 2. Therefore 5% of £96.40 is £4.82 as VAT. Alright, that's that done. I now want to do a little trampoline-y thing. Yes, I've got a trampoline, and it costs 160 squids, and we're charging VAT at 17.5%. Now I know we're now in 2011 and we've gone past January the 4th. VAT is officially 20%, but I can't imagine you being asked questions to work out VAT with 20%, because that's just way too easy. So I'm going to stick to these old questions. So I've now got to add on VAT at 17.5%. Alright, so here we go, 17.5%. Let's start with 10%. So 10% dot dot, what have I got? Tenth of that, £16. Then I'm going to do 5%. Well, this is easy. It's half of the 16, £8. And the remaining 2.5% is exactly half of 5. Well, that will make it half of the £8, which is 4. Easy peasy. Now we're going to add it up. 16, all this kind of stuff here. 16, 8 is roughly 24 plus 4 is £28. And there it is. 17.5% of £160 is 28. And that's all there is to it. Peasy. I've got a really dodgy one. Question 11 is said to be grade C. Let me try and fit it up here. This is what we've got with question 11. There are 32,000 football supporters at a match. 65% are men, 25% are women, and the rest are children. So I put children in the corner there. Right, A. How many more men than women are at the match? I could work out 65% of 32,000. I can work out 25% of 32,000. I'd rather say actually 65 and 25, that's a difference of 40%. And that 40% gets added on to the 25% to make the 65%, which is the blokes. In other words, let's just work out 40% of 32,000. And that's quite easy. Look at this. 40% of 32,000. I'm going to do it this way because I've got plenty of zeros to cancel. Look, you two, goodbye, chop chop. Right, nothing can cancel anything else. So I've got to work out 40 times 320. In other words, 32 times 4. 4 2's are 8, 4 12. Honestly, 4 3's are 12. Now, how many zeros do I owe this answer? 1, 2. So stick on 2 more zeros. The final answer, 12800. Therefore, there are 12,800 more men than women who are watching the match. Is that alright? So it'll be more men than women. Part B says, what fraction of the football supporters at the match were children? Well, let's go back to this percentage. 65% men, 25% women. We have 90% altogether. and therefore I have 10% who are children. How do you write 10% as a fraction? Answer, 10 over 100. Do it better than that, simplify it down. 1/10 of the supporters were kids. Video been running for 5 minutes or thereabouts. I'm going to do some more. Question 12, I think I'll turn over. And my clock's still there behaving itself. Right, question 12. Horrible things like 76% of 120 kilograms. Well, let's do it then. This might be your exam question. 76% of 120 kilograms. Well, let me start with 50%. I can handle that. So 50% is going to be half of it. So I've got 60 kilos so far. Put a little question mark there because that's the original question. I could handle 10% quite nicely, or 10% is going to be like 1/10 of that, so that's going to be 12 kilos. I'm up to 60 so far. Let's stick another 10% on top of that, and that's going to be another 12 kilograms. What we got? 50, 60, 70. 5%. So let me just do a 5%. Well, 5% is half the 10%. Extra 6 kilos on top of that, and I've got 1%. Okay, well, what does 1% mean? It means 1/100th of the quantity. So divide that by 100. Doing, doing. 1.2 kilograms. Again, 1% is 1/10 of 10%. As you can see, 12 divided by 10 will be 1.2. I now have to go and add up that jolly little lot without making a mistake. Well, it's going to be a 0.2 at the end, that's for sure. Nothing, 2 is 4, plus 6 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Carry that wherever you like. 6, 7, 8, 9, and there it is. 76% of 120 kilograms without a calculator, oh, I put pounds, it's so dumb, is 91.2 kilograms. I'm going to check it on my calculator because I too need to get myself some confidence. Right, 0.76 times 120 equals 91.2. Well done, Chris, got it right. What else we got? That's disgusting. I'm not going to do any more of those. What about something like 2.5% of 48? That's a question for you, isn't it? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me go to 10%. That's going to be 4.8. Let me go to 1%. That's going to be 0.48. Let me go to 2%. In other words, I double this up, 0.96. I now have 0.5% to play with, so that's 0.5%. Well, that's going to be half of whatever 1% was, so that's going to be 0.24. Now I want 2.5%. Okay, so let's just take it easy. I want that bit plus that bit all added up, and let's just do it in blue. So there's 2 and 0.5%, and there I go. Let's just do a little sum there, adding it up. Right, 6 and 4 is roughly 10. 9 to 1 makes 12, and a 1 on its own. And let's just put decimal points in. So 2.5% of 48 is 1.20, and there's no units there whatsoever. I could of course have worked out 10% and then gone to 5% and then half it again, just to prove to you that that works. We'll work in this corner here. So let me start with 10%. So 10% is 4.8. 5% will be half of that, which is 2.4, and 2. Oh, it's going to be glitchy. So let's rub it out. By glitchy I mean laggy. So 2.5% is going to be half of the 5%, which is 1.2. And in retrospect, I think that's a much nicer method. 10% to 1%, I don't know, bit of a jump, then double up to 2%, then add on the half. Anyway, I prefer the blue bit. So again, I'm just doing it as I see it in the book. So this is a much better method, I think. I found it a lot easier, didn't hurt the brain too much. Now, what else we got? Yeah, alright, let's do 97.5% of 42. Here I go, 97.5% of 42. Well, basically I've got 100% less the 2.5%. So let's just go down the route of getting 2.5% and dealing with it. Right, so starting off with 10%. 10% is going to be, well, 4.2. 5% is going to be half of that, which is going to be 2.1, and 2.5% is going to be half of that, which is going to be 1.05. Now I want 97.5%. In other words, if I take this 1.05, just highlight it, if I take this 1.05 away from 42, I've actually got 100% minus 2.5%, leaving me with 97.5%. So here I go. I'm going to go 42, take away 1.05. I think I can do that in my brain. That's going to be 40.95. Quick check. 1 onto that gives me 41.95 and 0.05. Push up to 42. Yep, totally happy with that. That's correct. Question 15 is lovely. It's one of these ones involving stars, which means it's got this green little sun glowing around it. That implies that it's long and difficult. You really have to think about it. Well, video's up to 11 odd minutes. Let me just see if I can make it run. So I'm going to try it now. Right, this is what we've got. This is Yusuf doing some stuff. It's obviously earning some money. And this is what we've got in the table. This is taxable income. In other words, he earns money, the government's going to charge him tax. And this is his tax rate. He's taxed at rate, according to the table. Right, if he earns up to 40 grand a year, he's got to pay 20% tax. If he pays over 40, if he gets paid over 40,000, he gets taxed at 40%. And this guy earns £45,000 per year. And task A, part A, how much tax does Yusuf have to pay? Well, let's work out 20% of 40 grand. He gets paid 45, so let's just work it out. So here we go, first part. So 20% of 40,000 is, well, 10% is going to be 4,000, so 20% is going to be £8,000. There's £8,000 worth of tax in the first instance. Now the remaining 40%, we've got 40% of the excess, not 40% of 40,000, but 40% of everything above 40,000. In other words, 40% of his extra 5,000. Now, because we're at really easy numbers now, we can do it without a calculator. 10% will be 500, so 40% will be 4 times as much. In other words, £2,000. What's Yusuf's tax bill? Is going to be £10,000. All right, based upon the tax rates given there. Part B says, how much extra tax will Yusuf pay if he gets a 2% wage rise? Well, let's work out 2% of that first of all, shall we? So 2% of £45,000 is going to be, well, 1% is going to be £450, you see. Doubling up, we're going to get £900 extra in the wage packet. So he now earns £45,000 plus the extra £900 of the wage rise. That gives me 46,000. No, wrong. He gets 45,900, not 46 around, not yet. Maybe next year, Yusuf. So £45,900. Again, he's still going to pay 20% on the first 40 grand. I've now got to work out 40% of the extra 5,900. So let me just do that. Or maybe I could work out 40% of the 900 and add it onto his previous. So that'll be a lot easier. So here we go. 40% of the extra £900 he earns. Well, 4 9s are 36. So we're looking at 3,600. Is that right? 4 9s, 2 18s, yeah. So 40% of £900 is an extra £360. So how much tax will we pay next year? Well, it's going to be the £10,000 from before his wage rise, that bit, plus the £360 due to the wage rise, and altogether he's going to be having to pay £10,360 in tax